Okay, I have a confession to make. I've never played Sister Location. Okay, get it out of your system. Sister Location has always been a weird period in the FNAF timeline for me, and I don't mean the lore. This game released right when I really stopped caring for the FNAF series for a few years. FNAF 1 through 4 had released, the Silver Eyes dropped, the timeline was more confusing than trying to track a single noodle through a bowl of spaghetti, and I was preparing for high school. This all culminated in me completely skipping over Sister Location and having practically zero knowledge of the game in general. So now, as an adult currently on a crusade to cover every FNAF game before the movie comes out, I think it's time I finally saw what I missed out on. Now, while I could go through this game one night after the next, like this script originally had me doing, go ahead and read it if you feel like wasting your time a little. I changed my mind. I think the best approach to this game is to look at it in retrospect and without any rose-tinted glasses. Hell, I don't even have any glasses to put on because I've never played this game before. First off, I asked you guys what you think about this game, and while I didn't get too many comments responding, I did see a common trend. Many of you look back fondly on this game in the beginning of your responses, but as you continue describing your opinion on SL, you start to cherry pick specific things you liked about it, but not the overall experience in general. And that's not even my YouTube comments speaking either. The few people I asked outside of my community tab all generally say the same thing. Good atmosphere, good ideas, tried a lot of new things, was a good break, but ultimately was a pretty weak entry in the series so far. So, let's see if these claims hold some water. Quick disclaimer that I will be looking at this game objectively as a game, not as a story. And while I am aware that many of you really hate what this game did to the lore, that's not what we'll be dissecting today. First, I'll break this up like I usually do. What does this game do right? Well, first off, the presentation here is insane. Like, it's not Red Dead Redemption 2 levels of pretty, but for FNAF, especially when it came out, this was beautiful. The way everything moves and shakes around as we rapidly descend into the bunker. The mere concept of seeing ourselves enter a location was completely unheard of in the FNAF series. We usually just kinda spawn there and let the information we're giving fill in the blanks. But this? I'm not gonna lie, I did get a smile on my face. But the way this game presents itself goes beyond its opening. The designs of the Funtime animatronics speak for themselves. No fucking wonder this game exists as a bubble in the back of my head. Look at them! The minimalist color palette of a ghostly pale white, paired with only one or two colors at most, that clashes with the extremely complex and intricate interior designs. Their wiring, their ability to open their faces at will, their scary ability to inspire so much vor art in the FNAF community, actual fucking humanoid animatronics. This game has a distinct flavor that no other FNAF game really came close to. But enough creaming over its exterior, let's talk about how it plays. And starting off, I know I technically haven't concluded the part of my video where I compliment the game, but fuck you, and I really gotta get something off my chest. This game has a hard-on for Simon Says. Throughout this entire game, excluding Ennard's Night, which we'll get to, don't you worry, this game insists on holding your hand every step of the way. And like a neglectful parent, it lets go at the worst fucking times! Most of this game, nights 1, 3, and 4, and especially 5, is just follow my instructions or perish. And I'll be honest, it's just not fun. I swear, crawling around in the darkness and waiting for dialogue to end encompasses 75% of this game. And yeah, I understand why it's laid out that way, you know, because we're a maintenance worker, but I play Cleaning Simulator and that shit's fun. I've played Power Wash Simulator and that shit's fun. I've heard wonderful things about the maintenance sections in Help Wanted. Can't wait to check it out because it's yet another FNAF game I completely skipped over. Yes, it makes sense contextually, but context doesn't immediately make it fun. But before I slice this game open and things get too negative, let's talk about one of my favorite mini games in FNAF history. During night 2, you have to recharge a bunch of batteries while Funtime Freddy sits across the room from you. The issue is that Freddy fucking senses your presence and will continuously try to murk you while you do your job. So you have to use the Bonbon animatronic on his hand to gaslight him into thinking nobody's in the room with him. And I have to say, this was extremely fun. Maintaining this delicate balance of gaslighting Freddy and also charging the batteries quick enough before they deplete is extremely fun, tense, and very satisfying. And the lighting here is top notch. The way the light flickers, barely illuminating our thread as he stares at us from the darkness. This was amazing and is definitely a highlight of Sister Location. It's just a fucking shame that it's all downhill from here. Nights 3 and 4. This is when the neglectful parent leaves its baby in the bath and forgets to turn the faucet off. We'll get to night 4 in a moment, don't you worry, but let's direct our attention towards night 3. Night 3 at best is annoying and at worst downright tilting. The final portion of night 3 sees you doing some maintenance on our pal Funtime Freddy, and for right now, all is well. You press some specific buttons on his face, watch him cosplay as some sort of starfish, you grab the bullshit plot device hidden in his chest, and then the issues start. You see, our pal Funtime Freddy here is a package deal. You can't have Freddy without Bonnie. It's just the way of the world. So you have to do maintenance on Bon as well. And I'm not gonna lie, I got pretty fucking angry here. So basically, Bon will frantically move out of your line of sight as you try to press the button under his bow tie. And the thing is, the game doesn't even give you any sort of hint on how to deal with this. This cup-sized prick of a hand puppet just jolts from one side of Freddy to the next like we're playing a game of fucking peekaboo. And then after he gets bored of trolling me, he murks me because why not? Then I have to come all the way back here just to die all over again. Sneaking past Funtime Foxy every other 5 minutes is infuriating and is a massive highlight of this game's terrible checkpoint system. The voice on the intercom that guides you and tells you how to do your fucking job could have said something like, Bon may be a bit more playful than the animatronics, and then mention something hinting at a peekaboo-like approach towards him. But nope, just leaving your boy Ultimatum to drown in the bathtub with my rubber ducky. No hints, no nothing, and you know what? I don't even know how I did this. I genuinely feel like I got lucky here and moved just slow enough for it to work. Not satisfying in the slightest, but perhaps it's just a fluke. Or so I thought. This is where my lenience thoroughly ends. Night 4. So basically, after the mind-numbing chore that is night 3, you're immediately slid into night 4. You don't even get to go home, you just wake up in a springlock suit. R.I.P. that one episode of The Immortal and the Restless we missed while being fucking kidnapped. And I'll be fair, this is a pretty cool way to subvert my expectations, and it did catch me off guard. However, the intro to night 4 drones on for far too long in my opinion. Baby's soft, ASMR-esque voice mixed with the long period of time where you're doing essentially nothing but moving around our mouse is a quick recipe to put me to sleep. And I'm not joking, I actually did doze off here. Props to Baby's voice actor, she has the voice of an angel. But basically, after we watch Ballora get face fucked for all the world to see, some mini-renas, these Q-tip looking motherfuckers, will start playing Shadow of the Colossus with your suit. And if you let them get too high without shaking them off, you get jump scared. Sounds fine on paper, right? Turns out the suit you're in, lo and behold, is a spring lock suit. So you have to keep the knobs from loosening too much and avoid wiggling too much or you get aftoned. The problem with this mini game is that at first glance, it's inconsistent as hell. A trend I'm really starting to get sick of in the FNAF series. At first, the very sight of a mini-rena getting too comfortable in your lethal fursuit is enough to end you. But eventually it comes to a point where mini-renas just straight up start climbing directly into your suit, which apparently is fine according to Scott. But this is not telegraphed or communicated to the player at all. I just see mini-renas crawling into my Iron Maiden fursuit and start fucking panicking because just moments ago, mini-renas was a goddamn death sentence. This led to me dying far too many times because I thought I was doing something wrong, allowing the mini-renas to enter my suit and end me. But apparently we're just best friends now. Why, Scott? Why, out of this giant fucking tutorial of a game, did you not think to put extra instructions at the hardest part of the entire game? Remember how FNAF 4 communicated everything to the player? Being all sweet and cute, telling me to use my flashlight if I don't hear breathing, and to close the door if I do? Also telling me to listen carefully just in case? Yeah, that was real sweet and really nice. It's a damn shame FNAF 5 couldn't be bothered to give a fuck. Couldn't have had Baby's voice actor record a few more lines, Scotty boy? Was getting her to say everything is alright, the ones inside won't harm you, or some cryptic shit like that too much for you? You already wrote lore with more holes in it than the corpse of a drive-by victim. You just couldn't be fucked, could you? Every other game in this series has rules. The first two games generally stick to the rules. Foxy is weird, Chica will always be an alternative costume for Bonnie, and Freddy is quirky. FNAF 3? Just pretend you're playing changed and don't let the furry get near you. FNAF 4? It's FNAF 1, but Freddy's already in your room. I'm sure you catch my drift, but it deadass feels like the rules for sister location are just fuck around and find out, and it was not done properly here. You can let the player learn from trial and error, but there's a delicate balance to that. Good examples of this are Elden Ring and Celeste. Bad examples are, well, you're looking at one. God, I hate this game.
Ugh, you just hate it because it's not normal. You hate it because it's different and try something new.
No, I hate it because it's a piece of shit. Its checkpoint system is god awful and the difficulty spikes more than my blood pressure after an all-nighter. TLDR, this night single-handedly killed a lot of my enthusiasm for this game, and I really wasn't looking forward to restarting night 4 and listening to Baby tell me about her day like we're going on a first date either. So you know what? I skipped it. Fuck are you gonna do about it? Even if I did get past this night normally, this is still unacceptable. The astronomical difficulty spike between the already annoying night 3 and the downright tilting night 4 is insane to me. And while I'll never get that fuck yeah adrenaline rush from beating this night like I would from 420 mode in FNAF 1, I can live without it. I've come to the very logical and reasonable conclusion that night 4 isn't fun. I think the majority of us who aren't masochists can agree with that. Now, I need to clarify a few things. Since I have a strict no lore rule, I need to soften the blow a little bit before I give my thoughts on night 5. There's basically two night 5s. The real ending where you get scooped and turned into a flesh suit by metallic spaghetti, and then there's the fake ending where you face off against the lethal linguini itself. I'll cover the real ending first because the fake ending deserves its own time to shine. The real ending is pretty lame in my opinion. If we're looking at this based strictly off gameplay, then it's just more of the same. You just follow Baby's instructions, enter in a code, crawl through the darkness, and get turned into a flesh suit by some metallic pasta. I'm sure there's a ton of interesting lore here you guys would love for me to talk about, but you know the rules, and so do I. I'll leave it to the army of FNAF theorists to sort this stuff out. I don't want to get a migraine. The fake ending is where things truly get interesting. After completing a minigame that was a little harder than I thought it would be. No! I hate COSTCAWTHON. You look at this and you say, oh man, that looks super easy. That looks super fun. Oh, that looks so easy to do. Why is he struggling with it? He must not be that good. I'm trying to be fair, bro.
You just hate it because it's different. You hate it because it tries something new.
Oh my god. Baby, how fat is your hitbox, bro? How fat is your hitbox? You are 7 feet tall. Do you not know how to ledge grab? Are you kidding me? Oh my god, that took too long. You unlock practically a 6th night. A return to form if you would, but in a much tenser atmosphere. Instead of Baby or Freddy or Ballora, you face off against technically all of them, as they've now taken form as the lethal linguini, known as Ennard. And while you might expect this to be like FNAF 3, it actually takes a much more fun approach to this. Instead of playing hide and seek on cams and spamming audio lures, it's a careful game of don't panic. In this game, the player will need to master or at least have a solid grip on 3 key skills required to overcome Ennard. Unlike every other office section in the past, the power has been generous enough to allow for relatively quick scans and double checks. effects, or it simply didn't have a power restriction in the first place. Sister Location, on the other hand, breaks that trend immediately. The power down here has as much charge as your average iPhone. I'm pretty sure a bottle with a gunshot in the side would drain slower than this. So, with that very limiting restriction in play, you have to ration your energy wisely. Yes, it may look like nothing is happening, but I assure you this is the most intense night in the entire game. Ennard is incredibly aggressive and extremely clever, and it only ramps up as the night progresses. Ennard will do things like making noises at the left door, then zip over to the right and try to rush in, or scraping against the vent in an attempt to fool the player, then make their way down the left hallway. This is where our first skill comes into play: self-trust. You need to know that your instincts and senses aren't lying to you, because down here everything's against you. Ennard wants nothing more than to penetrate you. The power has less energy than a malnourished child. Even the fucking guy that tells you what your duties are is about to fire you. That's where patience comes in. Down here, you can't doubt yourself. And when Ennard is pulling fake out after fake out after fake out, you need to know that you heard what you heard, and if you didn't hear anything, then nothing's happening. If there's nothing but dead silence for about a minute, which yes, does indeed happen, you can sit there listening without panicking, knowing full well that you're safe. For now. Management is the last crucial skill for night 5. As you hear Ennard moving around, occasionally showing up at your door or in the vent, you need to be swift with your power usage. Gone are the days of just closing the right door because you heard Freddy at 4B. You need to not only be quick with your inputs, but precise. If you've mastered our previous 2 skills, then your nerves should be as steady as possible. When you hear 2 noises down the same hall, or a really loud noise outside your door, shut it for a quick moment, then immediately flick up your cam and check. When you see them leave, open it and go back to listening. In short, Ennard's night is amazing, incredibly tense, fun, and was extremely satisfying to complete.
I will find a way.
Yeah! This night alone redeemed a lot of the game in my eyes, and I can see why so many people appreciate it. The way Ennard beats us out using the player's own paranoia against them, I just love it. And yes, I understand calling this game a failure is a bit hyperbolic, but when I only enjoyed 2 out of 6 nights, I'd be hard pressed to call it a success. Sister Location is the ugly phase of FNAF. It's evolving, but right now we're in that awful middle ground between what it used to be and what it will eventually become. It's a stepping stone, for lack of a better term, a product of growing pains and a necessary blemish on the history of FNAF that's necessary for it to reach its full potential. This isn't the worst game I've ever played, but it's definitely my least favorite FNAF game. Still, it was fun seeing what I missed out on. Either way, if you want to say hi or just had any comments on what I said today, please share them down below. And as usual, I am terrible at outros. Bye. Oh my god, bro, what? I sank like a stone.